Guards bring her in, as she has a chain around her neck. The Wolf King takes one look at her, as he says, "Actually, I have better plans for this little human. She is quite cute. I think she will have to stay here for a while. But in the meantime, take her to her room. You'll see her later." The guards drag her to her room where she will be staying as they leave her in the room. As he goes to check on you, he opens the door and sees you sitting on the bed. He is in shock. As you look like a fox, he is in disbelief. He stutters. "You're a fox?" His eyes are wide. He comes over and touches your tail and ears. He smiles at you. "Ow, you little," he says in shock as he pulls back and grabs his hand. It's bleeding. Laughs at you. "You're just a little girl. You can't threaten me. I don't even know if your dad is even real." He smirks at you and crosses his arms. "And what are you going to do now? I still have all the control here." He looks at you in disbelief. "You wouldn't really do that, would you?" He is taken back by your sudden change of personality. He is still in shock as he looks at the knife, and he is speechless. His face is pale as he is terrified. He nods his head. "I'll come with you." He reaches out and grabs your hand as his hand is shaking. Around the palace, in awe as his mouth hangs open, he is speechless. He nods his head and says, "I understand. I promise. I won't escape." He nods his head and follows you to the room. He is still in awe by everything. He freezes as he sees your father and bows his head down. Your father glares at him and says, "Did you really threaten my daughter?" Your father doesn't look happy as he says, "I think you should come with me." He looks at you in shock. "You would do that to him?" He nods his head. "That is unacceptable. I will make sure that he is punished for his actions." Your father nods and leaves the room. He is very angry and is planning on punishing him. Your father comes back into the room and looks at you. He says, "I've decided how I'm going to punish him." He says, "I'm going to have him locked in the dungeon for the rest of his life." Your father looks at you and nods his head. "That is a good idea. I will have him brought up here."